From the shadows of the Wasatch Front to the shores of the Great Salt Lake, you're listening to the Wynn to Scott Report, presented by UteFans.net, the original home for Ute fans.
All right, everyone. Welcome to the Wynn to Scott Report on UteFans.net. I'm Andy Brown, and we're here with former Utah quarterback Jordan Wynn and former wide receiver Kenneth Scott. How are you guys doing?
What up, baby?
What's up?
So let's not waste any time. We'll jump right into Saturday's game against Arizona. Kenneth, your initial impressions of the contest with the Wildcats.
You know, I was nervous for a little bit. I'm not going to lie, I was nervous. However, the Utes came, put it together and, got the W. And I assumed that Arizona was going to come out there because it was their senior game. They was going to come out there with full excitement, especially trying to win it for their seniors. So I'm glad they pulled it off. So now it's time to get this W against Oregon in the next week.
Jordan, your thoughts?
Obviously, that's what a trap game is, right? I mean, it's a trap for a reason. You come off a big win, you have a big opponent next week. The ability to stay locked in and just weird things can happen. I think Arizona played well. I think they did a good job of kind of hanging in, like what we talked about last week on the show. Is if you let teams hang around in these type of games, they will, and they'll kind of build momentum. And so. I think that's really what happened. I wouldn't read too much into it other than a few plays that happened. Again, it's tough to win games on the road in this conference. And so at the end of the day, they got a W on the road and we're on to Oregon.
Yeah, I think that Arizona was the best 1-8 Pac-12 team yesterday.
Yeah, sure. maybe ever. I mean,
for real, though.
They were tough. They played tough.
Mm-hmm.
So Tavion Thomas was out for this game. It was a preventative measure, but quarterback Cam Rising and running back TJ Pledger were big contributors in his absence. This wasn't Utah's best performance by far, as the defense really struggled. But ultimately, the offense got the job done with Rising throwing for 294 yards and 2 touchdowns. He went 19 for 30, didn't throw any interceptions. He also added an 11-yard touchdown run. This was his second best performance of the season in terms of passing yards behind the SC game. He made a few big plays with Pledger, Keithy, and Covey and connected with Keith and Kincaid in the end zone. He converted 6 third-down passes. 8 different receivers had catches for the Utes, led by Mika Bernard, who had 3 for 60 yards. Pledger was great. He rushed for 119 yards on 25 carries and scored 2 touchdowns. So Utah wasn't even close to their dominating performance against Stanford on the ground. But all in all, they had a pretty respectable performance. The final offensive possession stands out, of course, as the Utes were only up by 2 with 10 minutes left. Their last drive took 8:24 off the clock.
Beautiful.
With Pledger led the way down the field, scoring a touchdown on a running play to seal the game. So, Jordan, what are your thoughts on the offensive performance by the Utes on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I think they did a pretty good job. I've kind of always been harping for the last few years. If you score over 30, you're probably going to win the game with the way we play defense historically. I mean, it's not 100% accurate, but I'd say it's probably over 90% accurate. So I think they went out and they did their job. Obviously, we'd would like it not to be as close, but you look at what they did on third down. They were 6 of 12. Anytime you're in that 50% range, you're going to be a top 25, top 15 offense in that category. And just like you said, I thought Cam did a great job. He was super efficient, throwing for nearly 300 yards, throwing in the rushing touchdown. And then Pledger, I mean, the Utes' ability to continue to just refuel at this position group. I know, last week they had 3 guys all, getting touches for over 100 yards. But for him to step up and really kind of carry the load with Thomas out, I think was good to see. So overall, I was impressed with their performance. Another week of taking the ball first from Kyle, which is rare. Another week with a first series touchdown. It's a great way to start the game. And so overall, I mean, I was pretty pleased with their performance. I think they did a good job. And then that last drive, taking up over 8 minutes, icing the game and kind of putting them away is huge.
Kenneth, what about your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with Jay Wynn on that piece, man. The guys is averaging 35 plus points a game. So the offense is really doing their part. And you see the confidence is flowing in Coach Witt. When it comes to our running back production, I never really second guess them because that's what we do. We run the ball. So TJ Pledger, he did his thing. And even Michael Bernard, he's adding his versatility, not only in the run game, but in the pass game, which is something you love to see. The only thing that we kind of messed up on within the game is just the penalties. Like, I know there's a huge play to Britton Covey, and it got called back. That could have been Cam Rising's 300-yard plus game, but it got called back. But nonetheless, I thought we handled the situations really well. I think we only punted a few times, but other than that, I think we managed the clock well, managed the game well, and did what we were supposed to do.
So we've got the Dark Knight of Utah football on here. Should we pull up the bat signal, K. Scott?
Man, why not? Let's
the bat signal.
Yeah. So what are we talking about? What's the bat signal for?
So, for the people out there, the back signal is just highlighting some key moments on the outside group of the wide receivers. I want to shed some light on the things that they do. So, it was a 2nd and 5 play. Solomon Enos goes across the middle, makes a tough grab over the middle, which was awesome. And then, which I love to see. Then on the same drive, it was 3rd and 6. We got to a play where Rising dumps it off to Michael Bernard. But the beautiful thing that I love about this play is the effort that you see on the outside between Solomon Enos and Britton Covey. After they see Michael Bernard gets that catch, they're busting their tails down the field to get an additional block so that he can get some extra yardage. It's some things that you just love to see. Those are those little things that, you may not see just watching the game. You see Michael Bernard making the catch, but it's those little things that on the outside that makes that small play turn to a big one. So shout out to Britton Covey and Solomon Enos for that downfield blocking, even though it was a pass play, downfield blocking after they see Michael Bernard get that catch.
Yeah, he had a great game. I think more than three catches, 60 yards. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you want to stay on the field, block downfield. That's the best way.
Yep, exactly.
So let's move on to defense. Arizona's first touchdown came when Utah blitzed Will Plummer on 4th and 5. Plummer ran 42 yards down the field, igniting the Wildcats offense. Arizona went into an up-tempo offense in the first quarter, and the Utes didn't really know what to do with that. The Utes trailed after the first quarter. Everyone was having a heart attack at that point. And Utah fans everywhere were wondering if Utah would get trapped in Tucson. Lots of blown coverages in this game, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we had 4 penalties on defense, totaling 50 yards. 3 penalties extended an Arizona drive after Utah stopped them on 3rd down. On the bright side, Utah's defense seemed to improve and did not allow a touchdown after the first quarter. So Tafuna and Bishop were all over the field, with Tafuna getting 9 tackles and 1 sack, and Bishop, who I think was great. He recorded 8 tackles and a sack and 3 tackles for loss. So let's talk defense. Jordan, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think a couple of things you just threw out were still impressive, right? I mean, this isn't a Utah defense that I think Ute fans are accustomed to, but to not give up a touchdown after the first quarter is lights out. I mean, especially after you give up 2 in the first quarter. So I think they kind of hunkered down and buckled down and found a way to make adjustments and figure things out. I think the big thing is the penalties, especially when you allow drives to extend because of penalties. That's essentially a turnover. When you get a stop on 3rd down and then a penalty negates it, that's a turnover. That's giving the ball right back to that offense and letting them continue the drive. So those things obviously got to get cleaned up. I think, it's no secret the Utes play cover 1, right? When you play cover 1, there's no one really accounting for the quarterback. And Plummer did a good job on that first series. He kind of pump faked and got Sewell in the air. You're as a defender, when you bring a pressure like that, a zero pressure, you're expecting something quick, right? So Sewell came off the edge and probably thought he's going to try and get it out quick. I'm going to knock this down and the drive's over. But Plummer did a good job of just seeing it and pulling it down, and then he just ran straight. I mean, there really wasn't anybody left in the middle of the field. So kudos to him. Again, they're a Pac-12 school. They got Pac-12 guys. They got Pac-12 coaches, and they came out with their hair on fire a little bit and got up, and the Utes had to settle down, and eventually they did. And The beauty of this game in my mind is you come off a big win and you have a big game next week. And rather than, obviously we wish they would have handled them a little bit more, but that changes film study for this week. If the Utes won 45-0, film study might be a little more loose, a little more lax. I know it's a big game, but you come off a big win and there might be some little things that kind of sneak through the cracks because you won so big. So what this result's really going to allow is the coaches and the players to sit in that film room and make these hard corrections and have these hard meetings that are really going to be what, ultimately leads to a win, hopefully against a really good Oregon team next week.
Hey, Scott.
Yeah, man, I kind of piggyback on what Jay Wynn said in regards to that. But one thing I did want to highlight was Zevon, as far as when there was balls in the air, as far as the receiver trying to make a play in the air, they were, putting their hand between their hands and deflecting it, getting those incompletions out there on the outside. Granted, there was some mishaps in the back end as far as like players substituting in and out, leaving people open and stuff like that. But nonetheless, I thought they did pretty solid, with the ball in the air, as far as like cornerback position. I thought they did well on that end. The front seven, as far as our defense, I never really worried about them. The back end, I think it was when Plummer ran that real long one in the beginning, obviously for that resulted in the touchdown. I seen someone on the back end pulling up, and I was like, oh shoot. I don't know which player it was, but I was like, okay, they're gonna have to start rotating more and more of their younger defensive backs into the game and stuff like that. So I knew somewhat that was going to be, a challenge, having to substitute people in there. But nonetheless, I think they handled the job at hand well, as far as on the back end, besides those mishaps. But, great job of getting that W. That's what's all that matters.
That's it.
So I got a question for both of you guys. How do you think youth is affecting this team?
I mean, I think Kyle said in the press conference after the game that this is the most freshmen they've had in meaningful, getting meaningful snaps. It's a blessing and a curse, right? I mean, these young guys are getting meaningful reps in conference games that matter, which gets them more comfortable in these situations. And football is a situational game. Look, 1st and 10 between the 20s, you can call anything, you can run anything, you can send just about anybody out there, but these 3rd and mediums, these red zone calls, the goal line, short yardage, all these situations that these young guys are getting meaningful reps in are huge. And so could it be affecting them? Yeah, maybe. But in the end, it's just going to make this team so much better years to come. And again, these guys aren't just guys off the street, right? These guys are highly recruited guys. They know how to play the position. And, again, they're doing a pretty dang good job.
Okay, Scott, any thoughts?
Man, like Jay Wynn said, I know I keep on saying like Jay Wynn said, but god dang, Jay Wynn is like the John Madden of this doggone podcast. Like how can you not agree with what he freaking says? But man, like I said, you get them in there young, you season them right, they're gonna be all stars. They're gonna be all Americans. I remember Marcus Williams when he was a freshman and we threw him in there against Washington State and he was getting turned over like some rotisserie chicken. But look what he became, man. He's freaking magnificent. He's awesome. And so that's what happens when you throw the young guys in there. Shoot, I was a young pup in there too, like my eyes wide open, stumbling, like looking goofy as I don't know what, but during time, heals all and you get better. And so, it's only up from here for these young guys. God dang, they making plays as if they've been in the system for a long time. And so it's a beautiful thing to see.
So special teams. Oh boy.
Man.
We're in a little bit of trouble with this unit. Maybe big trouble. Jordan, you said something. If you block a punt, what's the stat again?
Yeah, it's something crazy. Like, I think if you block a punt, it's like your odds of winning go up to like 85 or 90%. Like that play is such a momentum. Like we all know momentum is a crazy thing. No one can explain it and you can't stop it once it gets going. But that play is such a big momentum play.
It is.
And that's the second time this year now, I think, right? That has been blocked.
I got the second time officially. So
yeah, right. That's right. The one got called back.
So
this is a problem.
Yeah. So Arizona blocked Michael Williams' punt with 10:41 remaining in the fourth quarter and ran it in for an easy touchdown to cut Utah's lead to 2 points. On that play, Utah's blocking effort was pretty much non-existent. I mean, everyone saw that. This is the second block punt this season that has been returned for a touchdown. They did have the other one, like we said, with Oregon State, that was called back. Jordan Noyes sent Utah's first kickoff out of bounds, so Jaden Redding took over kickoffs after that. Redding made a 30-yard field goal and was 5 for 5 on extra points. So what's the deal with special teams, and can this team win the big games with such a poor special teams unit? Kenneth, you go.
This guy,
man. I know this is, and this is Coach Witt's baby. Like, special teams is Coach Witt's baby. So to see him not great, maybe we got spoiled. Man, maybe we're just spoiled from like the Andy Phillips, the Tom Hackett's, the Wisnowskis, from all these great kickers and great punters. Maybe we were just spoiled, and we're so like we're thinking up here when everybody else is really like, you know what I'm saying? So to see that, it's kind of like, dang, it's tough. And I hate to say this, but I hope it don't take us back to a 2011.
Oh no! Oh no!
Nah, but I think they'll pull it around. I still got confidence in them. I know that Coach Witt is going to keep on pressing them hard, getting them geared up for those big moments like what we have coming up here. So I'm sure when those moments come, they'll be ready. I'm hoping and I'm wishing.
Jay Wynn.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously I think the punt blocks are pretty inexcusable. Got to find a way to fix it and fix it fast because the film's out there, right? I mean, yeah. I would be shocked if Oregon doesn't come after us every punt this week. So, got to get fixed in a hurry. Like K. Scott said, I mean, this is Coach Witt's deal now. He sits in every one of those meetings. He's not out with the offense or defense or in the weight. I mean, he's in every single one, watching every single rep with the guys. So, kind of surprising to see this happen. The kickoff out of bounds is inexcusable. That comes down to one guy. Like, it got fixed, right? They took him out. Next guy up. Next man up. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's as simple as that. But the block punts, I mean, that punt that got blocked on Saturday, there was like 3 guys that could have blocked it. It wasn't just one guy with incredible effort. I mean, there was a couple guys back there. So, it's man, tough. That was one of those wins Saturday where it's like, yeah, we won. But even like watching it, I looked at Britt and I was like, gosh, that like didn't feel great. Like I'm glad that they won, but that just felt like gross coming out of that. So, and it's really because of that. I mean, you take away that block punt, we get a punt off. Even if we don't score again, it's 31-23, I think, or we score again, it's 38-23. I mean, either of those are decent scores, but kudos to the defense for getting on the field after the block punt and stopping the 2-point conversion. Because my goodness, that's a totally different game. If they get that 2-point, they try to run the trick, Philly special, reverse, throw it. Everybody runs it on their 2-point play. Get original, anyone, but man, kudos to them for stopping that because they get that in and it's 31-31, and who knows what happens.
Right.
So. The moment you've all been waiting for, Jay Wynn.
Man,
dun, dun, dun.
Winning moment. Winning moment. Graphic coming up, hopefully.
Pretty soon.
Some voiceovers. No, my winning moment is just to kind of piggyback after that block punt. The following offensive drive, it's 31-29. It's a tight game. The offense goes on an over 8-minute long series that resulted in a touchdown, but what really stood out to me, I mean, there was a bunch of big plays on that drive. The 4th and 1 QB sneak was big, but my winning moment is there was about 3 minutes left on the clock. It was a 3rd and 6 at the Arizona 25, and again, Coach Led's offense, he's gonna allow for plays to be changed. If you go back to this clip, Cam kills the play. You see the hand signal, kill. He probably, I'm assuming, goes from a run to a throw. They give a little play action, and he rolls out and finds Dalton Kincaid in the flat. Huge conversion because you talk about not only, if you throw an incompletion there, you stop the clock, but you're potentially looking at kicking a field goal. And man, if it's 34-29 with Arizona getting the ball back with a chance to win, again, totally different ball game. So that was a big play. That really for me was kind of what put the game away. Again, I think we all wish it wouldn't have came down to the last series of the game with the offense having to put in a touchdown. But that was just a phenomenal play. Again, it's situational football. That's 4-minute offense. You're trying to run out the clock and third down. So you're hitting two situations in one. And for me, that's the winning moment.
Awesome. So, all right, you fans, we're adding another exciting feature. You now have the opportunity to ask questions of Jordan and Kenneth on Twitter, and we'll answer a few right now. Those whose questions are selected have a chance to win free tickets to the Broadway Theater in downtown Salt Lake City.
Ooh, man, get your culture on. Go see some at the Broadway Theater.
So, first question. How challenging is it for the team to focus on one game at a time when bigger games are coming up, like Oregon?
Man, we saw it. It's hard. You know, you talk about going into these kind of games and you know, having a one game mindset and only paying attention to the task at hand. But at the end of the day, I mean, these are 19 to I guess if you're Covey 30-year-olds, but you know, I mean, I was guilty of it. I mean, I remember looking at the schedule and seeing teams we were playing and being like, man, we got, you know, whoever, TCU coming up in a couple weeks. I can't wait to play them, and that's going to be a big game. And so it's difficult. You know, you try to lock in and you try to focus. And again, I mean, I keep going back to it, but there's a reason it's called a trap game. And because it's tough, it's hard to stay locked in on the game. And again, you get an opponent who comes in, you know, really with nothing to lose and throwing it all out. I mean, they ran so many trick plays, Arizona did, and they kept getting us. And that's what you get in these games. And so, you know, it's extremely difficult. I wish it was just, oh no, it's super easy. You're focused on the task at hand, but it's tough to stay locked in these games.
Yeah, I wish I could say something as cliche as like, no, one game at a time. One game. Nah, it ain't like that. Like, it's people gonna say it, but nah, it's really like, because you got those games where you circle it on the calendar. Like for me, it was SC, the UCLA. Like you got certain games circled on the calendar. In Arizona, if I'm on the team, they wouldn't have been one of this year. Oregon for sure would have been circled on my calendar. That's for sure. And so, you know, like Jay Wynn said it, man, it is kind of tough to like not try to like peek over. That's like when you in school, you trying to take a test, and you trying to focus on your test, but like you're like, dang, I don't know if this is really the right answer. So let me peek over. That's kind of like what you're doing right now. Like you just peeking over on the schedule to see what's next. And so it's hard. It's tough, definitely.
So next question. Curious to know if injuries you suffered while playing have had any lasting effect on either of you. We'll start with K. Scott for this one.
Ah, man. As far as my injuries, they haven't. It's weird. As far as like, you know, I have 4 ankle surgeries. So, or 2 on 2, like 2 ankles on one, 2 ankles on another, or 2 surgeries on the other. They haven't really affected me, luckily. I've getting surveys by our medical departments, like at the University of Utah. I'm like, hey, so tell us about your, like, can you run? Can you whoop-de-whoop? I'm like, yeah. I just got done almost dunking on somebody just recently. So like, so like, I don't see that much effect. Luckily, I'm in a state of Houston where it's not really cold. So maybe that's one of the beautiful things. I like my hardware and my ankles doesn't get affected, but luckily for me, nothing has happened to where I can't perform whatever I need to. So if someone wants to, you know, try to see me on that basketball court, hey, I'm bringing it.
Jay Wynn, what about you?
Man, we're the 4 for 4 special, man. You have 4 ankles, I have 4 shoulders then. You know, it's they haven't bothered me too much. I think K. Scott brought up a good point with the cold weather. When it gets cold here, I can kind of feel my my non-dominant shoulder. That's the one I had 3 surgeries on. If it's a little stiff. But I mean, in the grand scheme of things, you know, I'm a pretty avid golfer. You know, you could get dunked on by K. Scott, but don't come find me on the golf course because I might take your money. But no, it's you know, I think the big things, you know, I remember finishing with my surgeries, talking with the surgeon and the doctors about quality of life later on, right? So I mean, K. Scott's got kids, I got my son, and the beautiful thing is I'm able to pick up my son without any pain, and that's really what it comes down to. And Eventually, you know, as he grows and gets older, I'll be able to be active with him and do those things. So luckily, I guess for both of us, we really don't have too many issues, but check back in 10 years and then we might be able to give you a different answer.
That is true. That is true.
So last question.
Real quick,
go
Andy. You know, speaking of golf game,
hey,
I'm not the greatest golfer, but when it comes to putt, I'm the coldest guy there is. Like putt, I'm cold.
Man, don't see K Scott on the basketball court or the putt.
All right. Last question, guys, from Twitter. What team did you enjoy beating the most? Jay Wynn.
Man, it's a 1A and 1B. I love beating the team down south. I can't tell you how much I enjoy beating them. But aside from them, for me, at least my big like was 09 playing Cal in the Poinsettia Bowl. Just because there was a lot of revenge there for me. I really wanted to go to Cal, actually, coming out of high school. Tedford was their head guy. He was kind of the QB guru. He was putting guys in the NFL left and right. And it was this whole deal. You know, Tedford came out. They sent a bunch of coaches to watch me work out at Oceanside High. You know, I did my thing. I thought I, you know, performed well. And at the end of it, Tedford, you know, my dad was sitting there talking to the coaches saying, what do you guys think? Do you need game film? Whatever. And Tedford looked at my dad and was just like, hey, man, your son's good, but he's too small. And that always stuck with me. And so when we got picked to play them in the Poinsettia Bowl, I know obviously coming off the Sugar Bowl in 08 to 09, you know, there was a lot of expectations and, you know, we ended up not taking care of things. So we ended up going to the Poinsettia Bowl. But for me to be able to play back home in San Diego against a school that told me I was too small, there couldn't have been a sweeter victory in terms of revenge for me. And you know, ultimately I saw Tedford actually on the podium at the press conference after the game. And I kept my cool. He shook my hand and was like, man, you whooped us. You got us. And I just, you know, I said, hey, thanks. Good playing you guys, and good luck next year. But for me, that was one, man, that I couldn't have been happier when we got picked to play Cal.
Man, you guys should have offered me.
Man, I wanted to look over right at the end and then like, you messed up.
You could have got this W tonight.
So K Scott, who did you enjoy beating?
Oh man, you know, there was this, man, honestly, I don't know who I enjoy beating the most, to be very honest with you. Luckily I had, you know, the privilege to do 6 years. So I had, at the beginning of my senior year, I was like, man, who haven't I beaten? Like, as far as like a personal type thing, like who haven't I beat as far as our team? And, you know, I marked all the people we haven't beat, you know, in my tenure there at the University of Utah. And at the end of my senior year, I beat every Pac-12 school like during my tenure. So I was a part of every, I guess, first win for Utah, which is pretty
that's
cool.
Incredible.
That's cool.
Yes,
that's crazy.
Cool.
That's crazy.
Yep.
So Twitter followers, thanks for participating, and be sure to ask more questions for next week's show.
Questions, guys. Keep them coming.
Jay Wynn and K Scott will let you know which one of you won free movie tickets. One last item, and a very important one at that. UFans.net is collecting coats for the homeless for the holidays. If you're interested in supporting our cause, reach out to us on Twitter. We'd love your help. So thanks for joining us on the Wynn to Scott Report. Be sure to tune in for the Plan to Win by Jordan. It's coming up soon. We'll see you next week after the Oregon game. Thanks for tuning in.
Man, big Utes win. Let's go.
Woo! Go Utes.
Thanks for listening to the Wynn to Scott Report, presented by UTefans.net. Join us next time for more exclusive insider analysis from two of your favorite former players. We are the original home for Ute fans.